The IPS Academy provides online courses from some of the best instructors out there on mental health, personal development, lifestyle, nutrition, relationships, mindfulness, improving your life quality, etc. Each course we offer has been made in collaboration with an instructor who has also been a guest here on the Inner Picture Stories podcast. Have a look to see if there's a course to your liking, read the full course descriptions, and check out the thousands of positive reviews from students who have taken the course by going to innerpicturestories.com/academy. With that, let's dig into the interview. Welcome to the Inner Picture Stories podcast. My name is Jellis Vaas, your host and the founder of Inner Picture Stories, the educational platform on life. I hereby invite you to come on a journey with me. In each episode, we will dive into the life of an inspiring person seeking lessons of wisdom about life and the world we live in. Answers that you can take away and use in your own life. It's true that no one ever said life would be easy, but it's also true that no one ever said you had to do it alone. So get ready and let the journey begin.
When you don't accept it, you can't move on with your life. Acceptation is the most important thing in life. When the policewoman said, it's better that you go and sit down, then I knew it's not good here.
This is episode 001 with Nancy Kerkhofs, aka my mom. Welcome to the Inner Picture Stories podcast and to the very first interview here of the show. We are starting off with a truly inspiring and wisdom-filled episode. I can promise you that. My first guest is a very wise and knowledgeable woman, and it was a true honor to interview her. Her name is Nancy Kerkhofs, but I prefer to call her Mom. This was a truly fascinating interview, and not just because I had the chance to sit down and throw just a whole bunch of deep questions at my mom, but the other reason, of course, was because of the main subject that we talked about. At a young age, my mom lost her partner, my dad. I was only 3 years old at that time, but my mom was very young as well. She was 34 when she lost her husband. In this interview, we dive into the wisdom and the lessons she learned from that traumatic experience. Some of the things we talked about are the thoughts that went through her mind during that time, the whole process of losing someone, the steps she took into healing, and what helped her eventually to move on with her life, and just so much more. I learned a lot from this interview, and I even discovered a couple of things I didn't know about my father. There are a couple of times where you will hear me go, "Oh, really?" It was an incredible, enjoyable, but at the same time, emotional interview. There is some real valuable and honest advice and lessons that everyone and anyone can learn from. But of course, more specifically, this will be a great episode for someone who is going through a similar experience right now. I really wanted to interview my mom for that reason, to help shine some light upon this subject, one that is often ignored because people are not comfortable talking about it. Recognizing that you're not alone and that someone else has been through this and that, like them, you can and will overcome it helps massively with the healing process. Therefore, I would also like to ask you to share this episode. If you know anyone else who would benefit from this interview, please share it with them. Having all that said, I hereby like to introduce you to the one and only Nancy Kerkhofs, aka my mom. Mom, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Anyway, yes.
I'm very excited to have you, actually.
Yes.
For multiple reasons.
Yes.
First of all, because it's in English, and
Yes.
we've never had like a conversation like this in English, and I think it will be very interesting to just see how this will go.
Yes.
But also because you're my mom.
Yes.
And I think it's something that every child should do not just with their parents, but also with friends or something, to go and interview people more deeply.
That's right.
As you get more deeper information out of them, and asking questions is a way to go and do that. So
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Fully. Yes.
So I'm very interested to go and see how this conversation is going, and also just the main subject of this interview, which is a very personal one for you,
yes,
but also for me.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm very interested in the advice and the wisdom that you can share on that subject. But first, I want to start with some starting questions.
Yes.
And the first one is, do you have any morning routines that contribute to your happiness, or that you do that helps to start your day off with a good start?
Well, when I wake up, I just have one advice for me, and maybe for all the other people.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I wake up, I get out of my bed, and when I see I'm in a good health, and I can participate to another day, that's for me very important.
Yeah, so that's your morning reminder?
Yes, that's a reminder. So after that, you do like most people do. You go to the toilet, brush your teeth, have breakfast. But the most important thing for me is I wake up and I see I am healthy. I can see, I can move, I can walk. And that's for me the most important thing when I wake up.
That's something very underestimated, and something, if you do that every morning, incredible advice. Because it's true. I mean, a lot of people just forget that they have all their limbs.
Yes.
That they can see, that they can hear, that they can smell. And
yes,
if you don't remind yourself of that every day, you will forget it after a while.
Yes. So I think that's very important. And I think it's for every one of us. Mm-hmm. So that's my morning
routine.
Routine.
It is a routine. So
yes.
Yeah, it's routine in your head through repeating yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. I actually like that.
Yes, because I think when you're healthy, when you can do everything in the morning, yes, then you can fill your day with what you like to do, or when you have to work, or go on vacation, or do some hobby or job. But then you can do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds very logical, but it's only when you come to lose something that you used to have that you actually start to see it. But you can already go and remind yourself of it right now while you still have everything. Yes. But you have to go and remind yourself of it.
Yes.
So that's a great morning routine that you have.
That's my morning routine. So here I am. I'm glad I'm healthy. So
sitting here in this conversation.
Let's go and participate to another day. We get a new day. That's a gift already. Every morning when you wake up, it's a gift you get.
Just have to be willing to see that.
Yes, you have to see that. But when you're healthy, you can. You
can actually fully take your day.
Yes, you make something of your day. Whatever it's for you, it's different for me. Everyone has to do it on his own way, of course. But I think that's very, very important. That's the most important thing in the morning, to remind that.
Very good to start with. Yeah. What do you think is the cause of unhappiness in most people, their life?
Well, I think that a lot of people compare themselves with other people. So they say, for example, oh, they earn more than I do. Oh, their house is bigger than mine. Their car is bigger. I think we all have to stop doing that, because you make yourself unhappy. You shouldn't do that. Yeah. You become unhappy when you do that. Don't compare yourself with someone else. Yeah. Everyone has his talents, has his skills, has his gifts. Okay, you don't have to mind when your neighbor earns more than you do. You can also buy things, nice things, but does it have to mean that my car has to be more expensive than my neighbor? No, not at all. So just be happy with the things you have and stop comparing you with all the other people.
And that's kind of falling back to your morning routine of just reminding yourself of all that you do have.
Yes.
Of, that you still have all your limbs and all that.
Yes.
And, if you don't have that reminder, then you're going to look for something else to go and want as a bigger house, more money, another car. Yeah.
But when you do that, it's normal that you become
unhappy.
Yeah.
Because you can never completely get. There's always someone who will have more than you.
Of course.
And that's also with a business, for example.
Yes,
there's always someone who's going to be bigger than you.
Yes.
And you just have to look who you are instead of someone else's. So, yeah.
Yes, I agree with that completely. So I have a talent, you have a talent, and everyone has his talent, his skills, and yes, be glad also for the other one that he can do that. And
that's something I truly, because a lot of times, like being happy actually for someone else because they have gained something, that's, if you can do that, because a lot of people, they feel jealous because someone else had the job application that they wanted. But if you're focusing only on those things, you will only see the things that you don't have. Right? Okay, so if you actually will go and be happy for them that they had the job application, then you can go and move on and try to get another one. But if you're only focusing on the things that you don't have,
then
you will never have everything.
Yes, then you are also unhappy, I think. So people stop doing that.
Yeah, very true.
Don't do that.
And what would be your advice then for someone how to deal with unhappiness?
It's simple. Just be happy with who you are.
Yeah. That's actually it. That's true.
That's it. You have your talent. Well, do something then with that.
Yeah.
Use them, but if just that's my simple advice. So just be happy with yourself, with your talents, with the money you earn.
But especially the skills and the person that you are. Because if you're looking always to someone else what they have, that you're not really learning who you are. So instead of focusing on that, you should just focus internally in who you are and examine the skills and the gifts that you alone have.
Yes.
Because it's actually very crazy when you think about it that there are 7 billion people in the world.
Yes.
And there's no one ever been born like you. Or like me, or like the person who's listening right now.
Yes.
And you just have to look within you and figure out the uniqueness that you have.
Yes, we are unique.
Instead of, instead of just comparing you.
Stop comparing you with another. You don't have to do that because
that's a waste of time, really.
That's what parents sometimes do, I think, with their children.
Very true.
They compare a brother with a sister or two sisters or their children. You don't have to do that because your son has his talents, your daughter has another talent, but they are...
And they're unique.
They're unique, so...
Yes, and I actually once wrote something about this, that a lot of parents miss to see the greatness in their child.
Yes.
Because they're not focusing on or not looking at who they actually are, but rather looking to what the parent want them to be.
Yes.
So they're just totally missing the uniqueness of their child.
That's right, that's true. And that's something I think I did it good with my children.
I actually really think so too.
Yes,
and I wanted to say that you have actually really done that good. Because you've let us choose our paths in life.
Yes.
And a lot of other parents choose the path for their child.
Yes.
Which is not theirs to give.
No, you may not do that. You shouldn't have do that. You shouldn't do that because...
you still have to guide your child.
Yes.
That's something different than actually forcing someone or to doing something what they don't want.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And it's just about letting go of what you want and actually looking what the child needs or what.
I think that's completely true.
Appreciation. What do you do for you to appreciate life? What helps you to remind yourself of appreciation in life?
as I started the interview with when I'm healthy.
Yeah.
That's for me almost the most important thing. I think. So yeah.
Is there, like, when do you remind yourself of that? Like, for example, is it when you're in the bathroom looking at yourself, or is it when you're having breakfast? Is there any particular time where you do that, or is it just all through the day that you think of that again?
No, it's especially when I see someone who can't walk, for example.
Right, because then you see what you could be.
And then I see what I can, and then I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Or when you see people who's blind or can't hear very well, very good, or then I think, or people who has to lay down in their bed.
Yes, or a sickness
for
like
a whole day,
yeah.
or some sickness they have. Then I think, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm healthy. It's more than all the money of all the world. They say that's a cliche, but it's so true.
Yeah,
it's true.
And actually, whenever someone says something cliche, there is actually a truth in there.
Yes.
And so you have to open up your ears to something whenever something like that is being said.
Yes.
And yeah, it's very true. And also one thing, like, most people always focus on the things that go wrong, not seeing all the hundreds of other things that went right in a day. Yep. So there may be, in every day, something kind of, goes a bit wrong. Like you could have spilled some milk on the floor or something,
Yeah.
But a lot of people focus on those 1 to 3 things that went wrong through the day, but not focusing on all the hundreds.
Yes.
There are more things going right than wrong always, but on all the 100 things that went right. So it's just willing to focus on the different aspect instead of being controlled by just. I mean, it's just a choice what you kind of make to focus on. And now I want to move to the main subject of this interview. Why I wanted to interview you.
Yes.
And it's like I'm very curious because what we're gonna talk about is losing someone and how to deal with it.
Yes.
And well, that's something that you went through. I went through that too, but very, very differently than you.
Yes, that's right.
Your experience was way more different than mine, and I also think, in a lot of ways, it was a lot harder for you than it ever would be for me because I've never met my dad.
Yes.
But I mean, so I only have memories from people telling me something about him.
That's
but
right.
I don't have any actually real memories of him.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
From me. But you spent years with him, you lived with him, children with him, and so for you it's a lot more harder than it ever would be for me.
It's different. It's just different, because
it's different.
For you, it's hard, even
in a different way.
It's hard for you too, but for me it was also difficult. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm very thankful that you just want to sit here with me and talk about this.
Yes.
And also just for the advice that I know that you will give for other listeners, but also for myself, it will be very interesting to get some more advice from this, because losing someone, everyone will lose someone at some point.
Yes.
And I mean, sure, it's different to deal with the relationship that you have with that person. It's different in every aspect, but still, there are certain similarities in there on how to deal with losing someone.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, starting from, could you bring us back to the day when it actually happened? And not when the cops yet came in, but just the day itself. Like, what were you doing that day?
We're going 17 years back.
17?
It happened 27th of April 1979.
Yeah. 79?
1997.
1997, that would be better,
1997, sorry. For the, it
that
was wrong
doesn't matter, but
yes.
yeah.
And it was on a Sunday.
Sunday?
On a Sunday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And we were going to eat sandwiches with his parents, with the family.
Oh, with my grandparents then?
With your grandparents then. And he was... he told me, I'm just gone for an hour or two with his motorcycle.
Yeah,
yes,
his motor.
To it was an open day for cars.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
And then he would be back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so that we could, after that, at 6:30 then, to go and eat
sandwiches.
Sandwiches with family, with you and your sister and aunts and uncles, aunts and uncles, yes. And yes, and I was sitting in the on couch, yes, reading a newspaper and a magazine, sorry, and it was very, very funny, but I was starting getting nervous, and I didn't know at all why I was going to be nervous, but I was I was nervous. Yes, I felt something, and it was very, very awkward. Yes. I looked. 5 o'clock, and I think, he isn't home yet. But in that time, I didn't have a mobile, so I couldn't ring him and say, "Where are you?" And then it was half an hour later, and then it went on 6 o'clock, and I think, but that's not the habit of my husband.
Yeah.
That wasn't. It didn't. That's not. It was not normal. And at 6 o'clock, the doorbell.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought by myself, my feelings were right. My
gut feeling.
Yes. The nervous I had, I think, yes, is there something happened? Because it was normal that it was already 6 o'clock in the evening and he wasn't there yet. And I did the door open, and there was 2 policemen, a woman and a man.
Yeah.
And the policeman said, we have to tell you something. And it's funny, but I knew, because of it was an hour later, so I thought there is something happened. But of course, you don't think
you don't want
that. You think, an accident. Maybe come in, they said, and I said yes. But when the policewoman said, it's better that you go and sit down, then I knew it's not good. And then the man told, yes, that he had an accident with a motorcycle, and that I asked, oh my God, he isn't dead? Or is he dead? And then he just nodded. And the 2 things I just... it was very funny, but you can't place the feeling then. It's funny that I'm going to say you this, but I didn't know whether I had to cry, to laugh, or to
be angry or something.
I think, what are you telling me? I couldn't believe it.
No, that's actually very
So
normal.
You can't get the right feeling at that moment.
No.
Because
you can't believe it.
yes, it's such not with a hammer on your head.
Yeah.
And you don't know for a few moments, what is he going to tell me? Do I have to cry now? Do I have to laugh with it? What's going on here? And I remember I sat down and I was pulling on my cheek and I said to the policewoman, I can't cry. There's nothing coming out of my... I don't have tears. And she just said me, don't worry, they will come. The tears will come.
Oh, the tears. Huh.
Yes. But now you are too embarrassed.
I don't think embarrassed.
Sorry?
Embarrassed not. You just... If you hear something like this...
It's something...
It's too surreal. It's
yes,
not real.
It's surrealistic, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I just tell you, it's odd that I'm telling you this, but you don't know how you have to behave yourself.
Your body doesn't know how to respond.
Yes, you don't know how to react.
Yes.
Because, yes, as I told you a few minutes ago, is it something that... Do I have to laugh now? Do I have to slam him in the face?
Yeah.
Because that was also something I wanted to do. Because I think, well, what are you going to... what are you telling me? For God's sake. And then I remember they called the father, your grandfather, to tell him that we were not going. So what happened? And I remember that they came then, and then also my father and mother, and also yes, the aunts and uncles. And then they also called the doctor.
Yeah.
And he came and he gave me just something to be calm.
A pill?
It was...
or an infusion? Like an infusion, an injection.
Yes,
exactly.
So to be calm.
Sure.
But it's very odd, but I was calm because I think it didn't...
it didn't hit you?
No,
yet.
It was very, very, very odd that they were going to tell me this. And I remember you two were in the house, and
I know everything of that day too.
You were playing, and I was just telling 2 words. How is it possible, and what am I going to do now? That were the 2 sentences I just started rehearsing all day. What am I going to do now, and how is it possible? So, and then the cops went out because they couldn't do anything more then. And then, yes. Okay, then it's not so long that all friends know
starts
it.
to visit you for sure.
Yes, and then they come because the door wasn't. I couldn't close it because there were coming out people.
Well, I mean,
new Werner, my husband, and friends, and I remember there was one friend of him, also from me. That's something I don't forget.
Yeah.
I sat on a chair and he came to me and he just put his arm around me. He didn't say a word, nothing at all, and he just went out. And that's something I still remember.
Actually amazing.
Not all the other people who were talking to me from, oh my God, and this and that, and give me advice, and I can't remember that anymore. I just remember his name is
who is it?
Van Heukelom.
Heukelom.
Peter van Heukelom.
Do I know him?
No, you don't know him. And yes, I remember it as a day.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's actually, I mean, I think he also just didn't have any words like you did. And so just a hug was just all needed.
That's all you need then.
Yeah. I mean, all the words at that moment are too much.
Yes.
Your head is already full of
just
everything, of emotions and of thoughts, and just a hug.
Yeah. That's something you need at that moment.
Yeah,
just
physical contact.
Yes. And not all the words and all the advice that people you give.
That's what's tiring, yeah.
Yes, it's just, I am here, I'm going to hug you. And he went back.
Wow.
And that's, I still remember.
That's actually very good.
Yes, and then after that, then I remember till the funeral then, that's a week later then. And then it's an all surrealistic time because it was warm in that period.
It was summer then?
April.
Oh yeah, April. Yeah.
It was buried the 3rd of May, yes, and it was warm. And I didn't participate with the world.
Sure.
Nothing mattered. I knew the neighbors, Lut and Louis. Yeah. They took you too with them to put you in bath, give you clothes.
Really?
Yes.
So they took.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's because interesting to know.
Yes, because I wasn't interested in anything.
I mean,
sorry to tell you this.
But
sorry to tell you this now. But nothing.
I totally get that.
But nothing interested me.
Of course.
Not you. Not my 2 children. Not the housekeeping, nothing. Even eating and drinking was not important for me. So, yes, I lived on, and that's really true, I lived on Coca-Cola. I hate it now.
Because it gave you energy?
Yes, on Coca-Cola and sugar.
Exactly. The sugar also gives like the feeling of not needing to eat.
And you have to know, normally you get fat then with Coca-Cola and
drink a lot
sugar.
Of it, yeah.
Yes, and it was very odd, but I lost weight.
Of course, because you didn't eat the normal amount of food that you did.
Yes, and it was luckily that the parents cooked for me, and one aunt, great, she brought the food, and she stayed with me and with you, with you and your sister, that I eat something and drink something, and took care of myself, because going under the shower, I felt guilty.
You felt guilty going under the shower?
Yes, because guilty not only getting under the shower or eating or drinking, but it was guilty that I could do that and he couldn't anymore. So
that's interesting.
I felt it as why can I do this?
So more like why could I live and why he could not?
And why didn't he had the chance to fight? And he couldn't fight anymore because he had lost too much blood, and the
his neck.
Head vein.
The main vein.
The main vein was
cut open,
broken, or how do you say it?
Yeah.
And he lost too much blood, so the blood transfusion didn't help either. So it was just he couldn't tell anything, or couldn't have said something either. So it was. Yeah, he felt, and it was finished. So, and yes, so and the thing is, you can't get a prescription
Yes.
Of how do you have to deal with that? And
of course not. Yeah, there's no instructions.
Instruction, you don't have. And when you take a pill, there is a note,
follow this.
A note in it, and you
Step
have
1.
Yes, take a pill in the morning after dinner or before you eat. But with the
dealing with loss,
loss of someone, you don't have something written on a paper that you have to do first this and then that and then you do that and then you get over it. No, you just have to find out all by yourself.
Yeah. That's the difficult thing about life.
And it
doesn't come with
very difficult at that
instructions.
moment. Yes, that's a struggle inside.
Yeah. So what were the steps you actually took into healing, and what helped you dealing with the process of his loss?
Well, I locked myself up.
Yeah, no.
But
I mean, of
that
course,
was good for me.
And it's normal because everything is overstimulated.
Yes.
When you go to something like that. So the outside world, all the cars, all the people, the sun, everything is moving and it's too much on that moment.
Yes.
So it's normal to just shut everything off and just put those stimulations of all the world just temporarily away. So
that's right. Yes, but luckily I took care then for my children.
So
as well.
So
in the beginning, and first it was difficult, but then I took all the things. I put you and your sister in bath, and
could I ask you, like,
if you eat, and
how long did it took you to go to that phase of being okay with being okay for being able to have the energy of taking care of us again? Like how many weeks was that? Or months? I don't know how long.
No, it's just not so long because you have to move on. Yeah? You can say
that's a strong thought.
Either I'm going to sit there and I'm not interested in anything or in my children, or I go on.
Yeah.
And I choose the second one. I go on.
There are options always.
I have to go on. I can't just sit there moaning or
moaning.
You don't. It's not good because you were, I think, 3 years old.
Yeah.
And your sister Leda was
4
or 5. So it's funny, but children, so as you at that age, you go on playing further. So it's
I think,
and that's good for children that you do that.
And didn't help you a lot in that way too.
Yes, and you have helped me to cope with it.
Yeah, because your child is moving on.
Yes.
And
I have to be there for you too as well.
That's a promise you make as a parent, actually, when you have children. But
so, yes.
I think that was good to actually have, us younger in that way, because we helped you, even though we didn't know, by just moving on ourselves.
To go on. And I think it was a week or two later, and then I thought, no, I have to go on. And but of course, yes, I went a lot with you too, walking in the nature outside. And what I also did was...
so nature helped you a lot?
Yes, nature helped me. Yes. And in that time, I went to the art school for drawing and...
Paintings, wasn't it? Yeah.
Painting. And that was good therapy for me.
For sure, because you can express your feelings...
Yes.
Somewhere else.
Yes.
It's like music, for example. You also you play your feelings away.
Yes.
And here you paint your feelings kind of away.
Yes. And I took the bright colors. Not
very good.
Yes, I didn't take black and gray and dark colors. No, I took red, yellow, green,
the
blue.
Fleshy ones.
Yes, because that was a therapy for me. So
that's very good. Yeah.
Yes, that was very important for me. time. And what I also did was I like to read, but at that moment I couldn't read a book because a book was too long for me.
Sure.
It was
the focus.
Even 50 papers was too long for me. Yeah. So I read a lot about. There is Toon Hermans is he called? And
he's from Belgium or from Netherlands?
No, the Netherlands,
yeah.
and he is one stand-up comedian. But he.
Oh, is he?
He has a lot of funny things to say, but always in an
poetic.
with little words.
That's good. Yeah.
He can explain something to you with a few words, and then you have to laugh. But he also wrote short texts. Short texts, and I could keep my attention to the short things that he wrote. So I have all his books, and that's something that helped me also. Short
texts.
Yes, to read a few words, a few sentences, but a whole book, it was too much at that time. And time for me, I couldn't keep my attention to it, and it was funny, but what I couldn't do at all, that was go to sleep alone in bed. That was difficult. So the first weeks and months I slept on the couch.
Yeah, I think the reminder of that someone was lying next to you normally.
Yes, was gone.
That's something when I place myself in you, because this is something I've been thinking about a lot, of course, too. What it would have been for you to go through this. And when I place myself in your place, I think the day itself is too surreal to have any real, problems.
Yes.
But I think the next day is waking up and knowing that there was a person next to you normally.
Yes.
That must be the most horrible feeling ever.
Yes, and therefore I couldn't go to bed alone. No. So I slept on the couch, and I did that for several months.
Sure. When did you feel like you were ready? And did you change something in your room? Did you do something different with it to, I don't know, maybe to help you get some kind of a thought away from him? Or didn't you? Did you replace the bed or something?
No. Everything stayed the same. Yep. And it took me a time when I thought now I have to
take the step.
Put away the clothes you wore.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, that must
shoes. Yes, you have to do it one day.
Did you do it?
I did so, but I still kept some clothes of him.
You still have?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Like what?
Like
jacket?
A pullover.
Oh, a pullover, yeah.
Yes, I think three pullovers. That I think I have to keep them.
Yeah, I think I once had like a body warmer from him.
Yes, and a body warmer, and yes, even his wallet that he has with him when it happened. But I think I put it away because there was blood in it, and I couldn't.
I don't think that's
Yes, I think I have.
You want to keep it for the reminders of him, but not for the reminders of seeing his blood from the accident.
Yes, and I think I put it away. So, but some clothes I kept. And even his shoes he wore with his motorcycle.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I kept them also.
That must have been, I think,
kept them also.
Incredibly difficult to get rid of.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
because for yourself it's gonna help you, but it's very painful to see that stuff and actually put it away.
Yes, but there is something important I have to tell, and that is there is a moment that you have to accept it.
Exactly.
acceptation, and that's really important.
And that's actually one of the next things that I want to ask you. So for me, dealing with his loss was, well, first of all, about acceptance.
Yes.
But the other thing that I believe that you need, or at least for me, is to give that person a meaning and a reason why he died.
Yes.
And I want to ask you if you had any meaning or reason put on him. And I have one, and I can go and tell mine first. But
yes.
So the meaning that I've put on his death was that he actually helped to show me that life is a one-chance shot.
That's
and
right.
he has taught me this so very deeply and so well from the age of 3 until now.
Yes.
And this will always go with me for the rest of my life. But that life can end at any point, at any age, to anyone.
Yes.
And having someone that close, my father, do that for me is one of the most amazing things he could have ever done for me. Yes. Which is a weird thing to say maybe, but I'm very appreciative to him because I have pushed my life as much as I can because of him.
Yes.
And
I understand that fully, 100%.
And so is there something that you have as well, any meaning that you have given to his death, why he had to leave this place here? There could be nothing else, of course, too, but that's just on how I deal with it.
Yes, but that's also true for me. I want to put out of life what's in it, but not with doing great things, but just look at
the beauty of life.
Yes, and little things, but that's
the big things.
But that's how he also looked at life.
Really?
So I sometimes I think I do it just as he did, or as he would have said something. Yes, and I can see he lives further in you and in your sister.
Well, it does,
and that's very important for me. And you have sometimes when you smile, or when you play guitar, or sometimes when the way you're going sit somewhere, or
how I'm sitting, the position of
and for your sister also. And then I think, well, he is,
kind of lives on.
He is there.
Yeah.
So
just in the difference.
Yes, that's very important. And yes, he was he loved to live, and he loved life, and he loved nature. He loved music. He loved his children very much. He loved to travel, and that are things sometimes I think, sometimes I say to myself, well, come and look with my eyes how great your children have come, how beautiful nature is. I don't know if we can see it.
But you can believe that if you want. And that's can be very helpful as well.
Yes. But maybe, because it's all sudden that he walks out.
Yeah.
Or he is just only away for 1 hour, he says, and then he will be back.
And then he's gone.
And he never comes back. So you see him walking like a healthy person, and he never comes back. And that's so crazy and so strange and so odd. And so, you don't know, as I said before, you don't know how you have to react at something like that.
Yeah.
But now, you have to give your life also a meaning. And I think I think he would say now, yes, live your life also, Jelis,
sure.
and Leda and
you
and me, and be happy and live your life.
Yeah, see, like those things, as hard as they are, they do happen, and you actually see that life, can take pretty much anything, but you still have control over how you want to look upon everything.
Yes.
So you can keep you can keep looking back at that and keep feeling sorry that it happened, but you can also just look at what you have now and all the things that you have built up.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, the current things that you have, and they are in the details.
Yes.
In the small things.
That's important.
And you have to pay attention to those.
Yes.
And for example, in nature, it's full of those little small things.
Yes.
And those details. And yeah, you really, when you focus on them, you see really the beauty that life does have.
Yes.
Even though it's very harsh at times, but there's a lot of beautiful things happening too.
Of course. And I know he was also that kind of person too.
Yeah.
So he loved life.
Yeah.
He was very with a big smile. All the people loved him.
Yeah.
He was loved by everyone. I think he didn't have an enemy. You couldn't be mad with him or angry with him. No, that wasn't possible because he was and he could so and that's what that's a kind of how do you say it, an ancient
belief,
mind or an ancient soul.
Okay, yeah.
He was that also, and
like a wise soul.
Yes, a wise soul. Yes, yes, really, really. And all the things I have done with him, there were crazy things.
I heard a lot. Yeah, I heard some adventures that
really adventures.
Which.
Yeah,
when I hear them, I feel like that's pretty much like I do that too.
And then I see at you and at your sister, and I think, well, he is right inside them. And you have to be lucky that you had such a father. It's odd I am going to tell you this, but
I am very proud for the life that he has given me.
Yes.
And also just for the lesson that he has taught me.
Yes.
Because, I've done a lot of things in my life already that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have him show me that. But of course, you don't have to lose someone to actually go and see that as well. You just have to know that life can really end, and you just have to completely and fully know that within you. You don't have to already go and lose someone to do that, to know that, but you just have to really eternally inside of you know that life is a one-chance shot that can end.
Yes.
And if you keep reminding yourself of that, and I admire, because of my dad, he was my reminder for all my life, he will be. But other people can remind themselves for that too. And if you do that, then, well, you will grasp life a lot more deeper.
Yes.
Because it will end. So why waste time doing something, or why waste time being with someone that you don't like, or doing something that you don't like, if it's all gonna end anyway?
Yes, and that's what he also did. He wasn't. He died at a young age. I think he was.
He was in the
32 or 34. I can't remember that. I'm sorry, but but what I remember of him was that he exactly knew how to live. Yeah. He knew that. And
that's a gift to know.
And I give you a few examples. He collected moments. He collected moments, and I don't forget those moments in my whole life anymore. He took me to the Provence in France, the south of France, and he said, "Well, we're going to look to the stars." Because in the Provence...
That's something I totally would do, yeah.
Because in the Provence, the stars are much more closer to you.
Well, you're more higher, so you're closer to the sky, but
Then we see it at home in Belgium.
Yeah.
What did he do else?
He focused on the things that life had to give.
Yes. For example, with Eastern, we boil the eggs.
Yeah.
That are small things, but they are so... That are moments. when we were on another holiday, but you were there too.
So I was like 2 or
4 of us. And then he managed to ride with horses on the beach.
Wow. We were there too.
Yes, I'll show you the photos.
Yeah.
That was 2 horses, but then there was we could sit in a car.
Oh, yeah. So there were 2 horses riding, and you were
Yes.
sitting in the, I don't know how to call it in English.
A car.
Well, in a car.
In the sound of a car, yes.
Well, yeah.
And we were on the beach, and he could manage that we could do that. And but there are moments, and yes, I think he realized himself very, very good that
It's about the moments.
that you have to.
It's about the experiences.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you have to enjoy little things, collect the moments. That's so important, and
Yeah.
that's what he could do 100%.
But it's true. It's in the moments that actually happiness.
Yes.
And moments live on with you. And so you carry them whenever you are, wherever you are. And yeah, that's where real happiness actually contains within moments
Yes.
and experiences. So, yeah. What was actually for you the hardest part about it all?
The hardest part of
the whole everything, what happened? What was the hardest part about it?
The hardest part
It couldn't even be about him, but, you know.
No, the hardest part was that we had to buy the coffin.
The coffin? Oh, the coffin.
The
Okay,
coffin.
yeah.
It was with Aunt
Wow.
Greet.
Yeah.
She went with me and to the place.
To the store.
Yes, to the store. And
Wow.
we were standing there. And the man
That must
said,
be crazy
yes,
to buy that.
Yes, that was hard. And that was so odd.
Wow.
And we were standing there. And the man told me, yes, you can have a look around. And when you have chosen a coffin, you
take
can
it,
call me again.
Wow.
And that was,
Just the
I think, the hardest thing to do.
realization that,
Yes, that
he was going in there.
That was hard.
Wow.
Yes. And
Why didn't you thought about, or I mean, I guess you did, but you can also like burn.
yes, I know, but that was something else. When you are young, you don't talk about that. My husband and I, we didn't talk about that. And when one of us would go, what are your
wishes?
Burning or burying?
Burying,
or
yeah.
How does the church with songs, which songs? So I had to do it all by myself with luckily the help of the aunts, Aunt Greet and Linda, and I think no, I wanted to. So he's buried then in a coffin, and I thought then you have I'm going to plant a tree on it with peaches.
Yeah,
Yes.
peaches. Yeah,
Because that was something in the family also.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was not possible to do that. So that are the rules. You have to follow the rules. But
I can definitely imagine that was
yes,
not easy.
so you and also the church, yes, with music. But choosing the coffin, that was the hardest thing, because you know what. When they are buried, so you can give there's a few evenings that you can go and see the person when he is lying there. Then he is still there.
Yeah.
You see him.
Yeah.
Okay, he's dead. He can't talk. He can't laugh. But you see him. But when he is in a coffin, you can't see him anymore.
No.
And when he is. And that was also hard on the cemetery.
Yeah.
So when the coffin was under the ground, then it was all gone. I couldn't see him anymore. I still feel him, but I couldn't see him anymore. So that was also...
Did it in some way not help
a
little bit to actually kind of close the chapter that he was now not here anymore? Didn't it help in some way?
At that moment, no.
No, okay.
No, at that moment, no.
And how did
no.
How did it actually feel for you to go and see him again when he was lying there before? Because that must have been something.
Yes, that was
very weird.
Yes, I know you can stay there as long as you wish, because for the wife there is no limit, so you can say I stay here for 4 hours, 5 hours. So I stayed a lot of hours, but I remember the first time I saw him there when he was lying there, it wasn't him, because they put him a white shirt, and I think that's not Werner. He wore other clothes, and I asked to the man from the
the guy who worked there in the church,
yes, who works there. You have to put him
different clothes
on other clothes, because that's not him. So you react funny. So it was, the first weeks are so strange. It's kind of, you don't participate to the world.
It's like a dream, right?
Yes. It's not that you everything around you goes on and further, and you are standing still.
Right.
And you don't know, am I reacting good or not? Am I saying it good or not? Am I saying the right words or not? It's so... And that's when I told you before, you don't have instructions.
Exactly.
And for everyone it's different. You mourn
in your own way, for sure.
Yes, everyone has it on his own way of mourning from person. So I can't say what you or another one has to do. But the fact that you don't have instructions, it's really, really rare, odd. Yes.
Yeah. Did it help a lot to talk with people about this?
Yes and no.
Well, I
yes,
guess, yeah.
Yes, in the way, it was just enough for me that someone was there.
Right. That's actually the more important, just that the person listens.
Yes, that the person was there and that I could repeat it 100 times. How is it possible? Where is he now? That was a question I think 100 times told my mother, my mother then, where is he now? Where is he?
Yeah.
Eh?
Of course.
Can't he give me a call anymore?
Well, that would be, but yeah.
Yes, but can't he give me a sign? It was very odd, but sometimes I think, yes, he gives me a sign.
That is still there.
Yes.
Well, of course, it's normal that you don't want to give up on a person, right? And that you hope that somehow he still can make it back.
Yes,
it's very normal to believe and to want this to not happen, but yeah.
Yes.
At some point.
Yeah, but the most important thing was to then that there was someone who I could talk to, and even repeat the sentence 50, 60 times, but just that the person is there.
Yes.
Just be there, and the other person doesn't have to give me
advice,
a lot of advice. No, I don't need that. I just need
the support of being there.
Yes, just be there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very important at that moment.
What did this whole experience taught you?
That you maybe simplistic explained, but live life. Just be happy. with the small things. We have told it
before.
in the interview before.
Yeah, but it's true. Just live life. And I think, in a way, doesn't this... I think this also can be used as a comfort way that at some point you're gonna die as well. So at some point you will have the chance to see that person again. Yes. So in the meantime, now you're still here. Yes. Then make the best from this.
Yes, and as I told you before, accept it.
Yeah.
There must come a moment that you
want to move on.
Must accept it.
You actually must. It's not about it's must.
When you don't when you don't accept it, you can't move on with your life.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Acceptation is the most important thing in life.
It is. Yeah. With everything. And there's certain things in life that you just can't control, and life and nature, for example, is also one of those things. And at that point, it just comes down to accepting that you can't change anything about the situation anymore. For someone who just recently lost someone, what advice could you give to that person right now?
Don't let other people tell you what you have to do in those moments, and don't let people tell you how long you have to mourn.
You have to take your time for it.
Yes, take your time, and yes, I think I would give that as an advice.
Yeah, to just take your time.
Take your time.
When you're ready, instead of when someone else tells you that you have to be ready.
And do it on your way.
Yeah, you know better than anyone else in that.
I had my way with, as I told before.
Walking, reading.
Yes,
painting.
And another person has his or her way. So, and that's for every one of us different. Yep. So don't let someone else push you to do this or to do that. That's not good. No. So just
listen to yourself.
Yes, do it yes, listen to yourself. Yes.
Do you have any final words that you want to share on this subject? You could have none. You've already said and given some amazing advice about everything.
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, if you have any final words that you can give on this subject that we just covered.
About that, then.
Yes, about losing someone. And
losing someone.
About your whole experience about it all. Is there any final words that you want to share? It doesn't have to.
It's not good that you keep on grieving.
Yeah, grieving.
It's not good.
No.
And
the last stage is the one that you can only make. And
yes, and some people grieve 3 years, 6 years, their whole life. And that's okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone has to do it on his or her way, as I told you before. But let yourself
allow yourself to be happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And only you can actually give that to you.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And that's important. And of course it doesn't. You don't succeed in that in the beginning.
Yeah. Sure.
But
when time moves on.
Yes. Then
you have to move on.
You have to move on anyway, and just be happy again.
Yeah, that's actually very good.
Be happy again.
Mom, I really want to thank you for sharing this, because it's very personal. And how does it actually makes you feel to talk about this now?
Well, it's.
I mean, it's normal that it still hits you somewhere in your heart. Which, I mean, would be not... Of course it would, right?
Yes.
It's still, you're talking about a person that you loved.
Yes.
It's even for me.
Yes. But I can talk about it now. So
that means that you did.
It's already 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't mean anything with it when I say this.
Of course not, but you moved on, and
yes, you have to move on, and you have to be happy again, and yes.
No, true.
But yes.
Mm. Well, like I said, I really am grateful for you for taking this time and letting our listeners hear about this story, because it's very good for other people to hear recognition for someone who will go through it at the moment, for example. Mm-hmm. It's good to hear it from another person who went through it as well. It helps a lot to find yourself in someone else.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate that for you, for telling this and for the advice that you've given. And before we're gonna say goodbye, I just want to end with a couple of end questions.
Yes.
And what do you feel that your parents thought you well while you were growing up?
What they did well.
What they taught you well.
What they taught me well.
When you were growing up.
Yes. Now, I have to say that my parents...
It can be in any kind of way.
...were not that kind of talkers or let's see their emotions. So I have to be a little negative about this because...
but you can still learn something in the negative as well.
Yes, because I had to find out a lot of things all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So my father was more than my mother. When I had a problem with something, he was there for me. And my mother, she didn't sometimes knew how to cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
So...
But is there any particular lessons that you felt that they taught you well while growing up? It can be also not by telling you something, but by showing you something by what they did.
Well, but actually, they were not such talkers and emotional.
So they didn't even show you something on how they raised you, that you like that, how they raised you in that way?
No, actually not.
No?
They were...
For example, like what you always taught me well was that you should be honest and that you shouldn't lie.
Yes.
Is there something like this that they taught you as well?
Of course, I grew up as a good girl, so my education at home was good, I think. So, but I don't think... I think for me as a mother to you and your sister, I am more open with you too. And my parents were not or are not so open.
It's very good to be actually, I mean, of course, how else can you communicate if you're not talking to each other?
Yes, but...
Right, so communication and honesty, it's very important as a parent to their children. So, but then maybe the other question could maybe be something more that could relate to you. What would you have liked your parents to have taught you better or differently?
What they had to do better?
No, what you would have, sort of like the advice that you could have given to your parents, what they could have taught you better, what they could have done differently.
Well, then...
it's mostly the way that you teach something to us. It's mostly the thing that they did not write.
Yes. Well, it would have been great or that my mother would... that we had good conversations.
So, for your parents to be more open?
Yes.
With who they are?
Yes. And, for example, yes, I didn't I couldn't choose which school I would like to go to. I wanted to learn something in art with painting and drawing.
Well, you would have done a really good job on that.
But that was not okay with my father, so he was that was closed subject.
Yeah.
So yes. More or less, you had to become a bit, how they wanted you to be, and that's something, maybe in that time it was not as
Sure. I mean, it's true that there were less options in a way than there are today with
Yes,
the
that's
internet.
true.
I mean, the
Yes.
internet has opened incredible ways of doing something that you could have never done in that age. But
Yes.
it's still wanting to listen to your child and actually really seeing what their gift is
Yes.
instead of just
And that's what I missed a little bit,
Yeah.
I think. So that's, and not so emotionally, not also.
well, yeah, if you
so,
don't, if you're not open, you can't really emotionally connect with each other, and that's where the
Yes.
real connection is, right? It's not in
Yes.
small talk; it's in deep talk, like this.
Yes.
That's where you
Yeah.
can connect with each other, and
Yes.
that's why I always hate small talk, because you're actually not really learning that person.
That's
You're
true.
just staying on the surface, but you're
Yes.
not digging deep within
Yeah.
who the person is, and
Yes.
you're not learning anything. Is there any personal Bible that you have? Any book that show you a deeper insight about yourself, about life? Any book that you consider your personal Bible?
Well, actually, I like to read a lot, and I have read a lot of books in my life.
No.
And I hope I can go on
Reading more?
more and more
Sure.
and more. So I don't think I have one special book. There are different books, and I think out of each book you take some advice or some words, or I know I've read, for example, the Little Prince. That's a very nice book.
Yeah,
And
that's a very one that I recently only just read.
Yes,
but it's a very good one.
And
yeah.
then the book Anne Frank.
Is that a Flemish one or a Dutch?
That's a girl from the Netherlands.
So it's in Dutch, right?
But in Dutch,
Yes.
yes.
But what is it?
A Jude. She's a Jude. She was a Jude.
A Jew.
Jude, yes.
Yeah.
But she wrote a book, and
About her.
the sad thing is, yes, they had to hide themselves from
The Nazis,
soldiers,
from
the Nazis,
from
yes.
the Germans,
and
yeah.
they had to stay together in a small room in the house,
Mm-hmm.
hidden from no one could know that they were there.
Sure.
But there was someone who had told them they were sitting there, and she didn't survive.
Oh, she didn't.
So,
But it's a true story then.
But it's a true story, and
Oh, wow.
that made a lot of impression also
Sure.
on me. So she was not old; she was a teenager, I think.
Wow.
But the way how she wrote those letters, and they were all
it's a book. It's the letters, and they made a book
yes,
from
they
the
made
letter.
a book
Oh, okay.
of all the letters she wrote.
Well, I'm gonna check that book actually. That sounds pretty good.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's and the saddest thing is that they were. That was in the Second World War, I think. Yes, and they were nearly going to be rescued.
Yeah, sure.
And
Things like
it's yes, but as I said, in each book there are some words or sentences that
can hit you on a
that
good
can
spot. Yeah.
can that you say, yes, that's a right word for me,
Yeah.
or a right sentence for me. So
So The Little Prince, and how is the other book called?
Anne Frank.
Anna Franke.
Yes.
Okay. So the last three questions of this interview. What word of wisdom, what advice has helped you through your life?
Acceptation.
Mm-hmm. I can totally get why that helps
Yes.
you through your life. Yeah.
Yes.
Acceptation. Yeah.
Accept things anyway. In the beginning it's hard, but you have to accept.
True. Very true.
And then you can go on, and then you have to be happy again.
What does it mean for you to stay connected with the world, and how do you do it? Like, for example, through traveling or being in nature?
Yes, definitely being in nature, because I like to walk, I like to ride a bike.
Yeah, bicycle.
Bicycle, yes. We have a little dog, so
Sam,
Samika, yes, and then she also comes with
rides
us.
the bike with it, yeah, sure.
Yes, and that's very important that you walk.
Why is it important for you?
Because I like to walk through the wood, the forest,
yeah.
And when you see the trees, they are standing there, and they don't give an opinion of you. So they are there, and in all their might and mighty strength and growth, and with the colors now in autumn with
very
nice
colorful
leaves. In spring and summer it's another tree you see then, but they are so strong, and yes, they as it is as if they say to me, come and join us, join the wood, join the nature here with us. They are not like people. People can be mean and can be hard for one another.
Well,
trees aren't.
No.
And that's why I like the trees so much.
That's a big reason why I actually also really enjoy nature, because
I know, yes.
everything is just as it is.
Yes.
And it doesn't care about who you are or where you come from. It just, it will just take you as you are. And that's a very cool knowing that nature is like that.
Yes, and also with animals, with the dog.
Same.
Also, Sam, she accepts.
She doesn't judge.
No, she accepts you.
She just comes
just
to
the way you
yeah.
are. But I also like to travel, so I've been already to a lot of places also. Not so much as you have done.
Sure, but still a good list.
But why not? I'm only 53.
Still very young.
It's very young.
Yeah, it is.
So, no. That's how... that are the things that...
Yeah. So the final question is, from everything that you have seen, experienced, lived and learned in your life, what is the one thing that you know to be true?
Then I say again, acceptation.
It's acceptation.
Yes. That's accept. That's very important when you can do that, because when you can't accept the situation, you can't move on with your life. And that's for everything that's coming in on your way, whether you're going to be sick or when you lose someone, or in all kinds of situations, you have to accept. I'm not going to say it's easy in the beginning.
Of course not.
Yeah. It hasn't to be easy at all.
See, that's true. It doesn't have to be easy, right? I mean, life would be boring if everything would just be easy.
Yes.
It has its challenges.
Yes.
But also, that's how you can grow, and that's actually the really beauty of having these difficult times.
Yeah. So, but that's I have with all the things I have had in my life and to cope with and to deal with, I can fully say to you, you have to accept it. One time, you have to accept a situation.
Very good.
Or yes, and then go on with your life. And as I told you before, and then be happy again.
Mom, thank you very much for the interview.
It was a pleasure to do it with my own son.
Yeah, right?
Really, really. I was a bit nervous in the beginning.
But it went better than you thought, right?
You have to know he
made
me some nice, good tea. And that helps.
It does.
Those were the moments. And I have to say then, collect moments is also important. And the moment now with my son was one of these moments that's important for me.
Mom, thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure.
There we go. I hope you enjoyed this interview and found the wisdom and lessons to be of help. The show notes of this interview, what we talked about, all the resources and book recommendations can be found at innerpicturestories.com/podcast. Just type in Nancy Kerkhofs in the search bar and this episode will pop right up. I also included a couple of extra helpful articles and other resources on this subject for anyone who is going through this process right now. For those who are, I would also like to say that I'm here for you, and I truly mean that. If there is any more support I can give you, simply go to innerpicturestories.com/contact and drop me a line. I know how hard this process can be, and if there is something I do not want you to feel, is the feeling of being alone. I struggled a lot with that feeling when I was dealing with the loss of my dad, but the truth is that you're not alone. There are many people, including me, who are right here for you, but sometimes you have to be the one to reach out to those people. Having that said, thank you so much for listening to this very first episode, and if you found it helpful, it will mean a lot to me. And for the sake of sharing this wisdom, if you could leave a review on iTunes and share this episode with all your friends on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., help spread this wisdom. Thanks again for listening. This is Jellis Vaz, signing off.